join us and enlighten us with our knowledge.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for these kind words that you spoke about me. Yes, it has been a kind of mild achievement, I can say, something done in a positive way, still on the way to learn. So, Dr. Sanjay Prasad Pandey, the Director, Achievers Foundation for English Studies, and Associate Professor, Lovely Professional University. Dr. Sudhir Narayan Singh, Head Department of English and Humanities, Mahamana Madan Mohan Malviya, University of Technology, Gorakhpur. The Principal of LJNH Government College, Kotla Khurd, Una, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, sorry. Doctor studying Kire, the chief guest of this session, my friend Dr. Prakash Joshi from the University of Allahabad, delegates who have joined this from India and outside India, students, research scholars, and all the participants. I take this opportunity to congratulate all the three institutes who have organized this great event and given me the opportunity to be with you, to share some of my views on the topic recent trends in postmodernism, reappraising literary and cultural episteme. We all know that 20th century has been the age of extremes, as Eric Hobsbawm says. It has witnessed the hitherto unforeseen happenings across the globe, including the two world wars and the emergence of a new world order. In the known history, we haven't seen that kind of troublesome century. In the known 5,000 years, we can go back to the Mahabharata, that is the one period where we see the destruction on a large scale and the re-emergence of the dharmic order, I should say. Otherwise, minor incidents kept on happening across the globe in a small scale somewhere here and there. But the two world wars shocked us. The two world wars make us, especially the second one, made us to look at the world in a new way. Dr. Sudhir Narayan ji referred to several incidents, especially about the Second World War, and also the way it affected culture, the way it affected our mode of thinking, and it was further elaborated by Dr. Pandey, who touched upon some of the key issues. I am sure many speakers and the presenters and the researchers will add several things to this seminar. I am going to add a few known things, rather I will be repeating it in a way, but I believe this. Postmodernism questions even beliefs, but I believe that yes, even the repetition, even remembering something from the past, not just our own experience, provides meaning to our life. And it is that meaning, that significance which helps us in getting sustenance. So postmodernism is one such contested term which gained prominence in the 1970s, affecting almost all disciplines in humanities and social sciences. It has broadly been used to name the present historical period. Pandey referred to it, to name a style in art and architecture, or to name a point of rupture or disjuncture in epistemology. These two prominent things have happened there. The word postmodernity has been employed to refer to the historical period. Again, these meanings are not finalized. They can never attain finality. In fact, postmodernism intends that no finality should be there, it should be open-ended. But these three terms have gained some kind of meaning, minor distinction. So, postmodernity refers to the historical period, postmodernism for aesthetic dimensions, and postmodern for epistemological aspects. I will be referring to some of them. If we look at the journey of the term, we find that the literary critic Federico Dionis used the term postmodernismo in a collection of Hispanic poetry 1934 to refer to a short-lived reaction to modernism. It was in that very preface he used this word postmodernismo for the first time. This is for the new students, young students, this genesis and the development of the way this word traveled. The term entered the English-speaking world when the British historian Arnold Toynbee used it in a negative way in the 8th volume of his book A Study of History 1954. Just 2 decades later, he used this very term but in a negative way. Both the things, positive and negative overtones, still continue. And perhaps herein lies the success of this term, or if we call it a movement. We have to remember that Toynbee used it to refer to a philosophic figuration of a future movement in history. He thought that this kind of thing would happen, and he had looked at it happening somewhere in future. That is again something very unique and shows that the kind of genius he was. Later, the Black Mountain poets, the duo rather, Charles Olsen and Robert Creeley, used it in a personal communication in the sense in which it is used now. It is talk about a shift in history and the developments following that shift. So they focused on this very thing. They noticed that some kind of change, some kind of shift in the thought process is there, and they talked about it, and it became again one of the characteristics of postmodernism. If in the 60s, early 60s and later 60s, 2 things happened to writers come. If in the early 1960s, Wright Mills and Irving Howe, the 2 great American writers from New York, restored the negative meaning embodied in the ideas of communism and socialism. In the late 60s, Leslie Fiedler employed the term to refer to the emergence of a new youth culture sensibility, focusing on the significance given to individual freedom of expression rather than the control of the state on it. So these 2 shifts took place. If in the early 60s the negative meaning, in the almost at the end of the 60s, this youth culture looking forward towards more freedom. Another significant usage of the term came with Ihab Hassan, the Egyptian critic, in 1971, almost a decade later, who, while surveying literature and music, termed some of them to be postmodern rather than modern. In his view, artists like Ashbery, Thomas Pynchon, Warhol, prioritized the playful indeterminacy over the modernist fixity. If the modernist showed the disillusionment and looked for through parts to some kind of attainable or unattainable whole, WHOLE, these writers focused on the playful indeterminacy over the modernist fixity. Then the term gained prominence with Lyotard's 1979 book, translated into English as The Postmodern Condition, a report on knowledge, in 1984. In this, he questioned the validity of grand narratives which had been destroyed by the Second World War. It gave space for the emergence of little narratives, or what Lyotard often referred to as little games. Talking about it, he says, and I quote from that very book, the postmodern would be that which in the modern puts forward the unrepresentable in presentation itself, that which would make it possible to share collectively the nostalgia for the attainable, that which searches for new presentations, not